Hello, hello. This is the analytics instrumentation sync on the 12th of September, 2023. The first, we have quite a few things actually to get through today, so I'm gonna dive directly in. The first topic comes from me and Tanuja, so Tanuja, please stop me if you want to add anything to that. But since I added the agenda item, I'm just gonna go through it quickly. We had an OKR, you might remember, to migrate 80% of mirrored Redis HTML metrics as a key result. This is also what prompted an MR from me to update the data source attributes for all the events that actually have been, or the metrics that actually have been already migrated. Since otherwise it's hard to keep track for us whether how close to that to this target we are. We're talking about roughly 500 metrics here that have been mirrored before. So 80% of that would have been 400 metrics that we would have had to convert. The Sisense dashboard that is linked in the OKR and the linked epic as well isn't 100% up to date yet because the MR from me is not merged yet. But with this MR merged, we're gonna be at roughly 100 events already or metrics already migrated. So if you look into my MR, that's just like I think not about 90 files where I'm updating the data source. So that's still short 300 events. One lesson that's kind of a learning for me also is that we set up this OKR on quite short notice. So I think we all agree. I mean, we're at kind of right in the middle of the this quarter. So it's August, September, October. So the getting to the 80% would have been really hard. And I think I did a bad job in the beginning of kind of actually looking at the data really and trying to figure out what is a more realistic target. So the 80% are kind of a bit too much anyway. We probably should have kind of, even with that in mind, we probably should have had a target of more around maybe 50% or something, which would have still been ambitious in there originally. But I think we're not supposed to kind of change OKRs after the fact. So that's where it stands right now. At the same time, we actually want to pivot away from this completely based on a discussion that we had recently. I think that some of you also joined. That's why I'm mentioning this today, just so that everyone's kind of aligned with that, or also not surprised when we talk about this in the next milestone presentation. Since instead of focusing on migrating the mirrored events, we propose or switch over to going for migrating the total count metrics. I think that was originally came up from, I think Jonas brought it up, and also Piotr mentioned how painful the old Redis total count code is. And the idea behind that is that these are roughly 90 active metrics. So it's a much smaller number. If you think about 500 versus 90, that's quite a bit of a difference. And we feel like getting rid of those is actually a more significant step for us because it gets rid of a complete code path, like something that we no longer need to maintain. So that's why we also set up an already like a bare bones issue for that. We're going to fill this out more towards the new milestone now. But we should still finish up any ongoing conversions. So if you're kind of currently working on one of those of the mirrored events, I think let's please finish those up. All the issues that we've already planned for, I think we should just finish those and not stop midway. But then we're going to pivot over to migrating Redis total count metrics. The one open question that came to my mind there, and please also feel free to ask any other questions that you have regarding this. But the one thing that mainly came to my mind is also the question of, is there maybe automation potential when migrating those, because 90 metrics is still quite a few. To my knowledge, when we looked at previous conversions that we did, we always kind of did it by hand, or at least I'm not aware of any kind of officially shared scripts or anything to migrate a metric. Everyone just did it on their own whenever tackling an issue. So I think the open question for me is kind of, do you think it would make sense to invest time into creating a script or a code mod to do some of this work automatically? Or is the way that we're tackling these things right now, kind of just one by one, doing a manual conversion, the best way anyway?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I wanted to say that I think at least in some of the cases, it should be possible to automatize it. I'm thinking about the cases where in controllers, we just have like track events and the name of the event and its props. These ones, at least I'm pretty sure it will be possible to automatize the transition to internal events. As for the others, probably it would still be good to invest the time into investigation to see how much we can automatize, because this volume will be huge.
We're talking about Redis HL metrics or total counts, ordinary Redis metrics.
In this case, we're talking about the ordinary Redis metrics. So when I talk about the 90 metrics that we want to convert now, those are the ordinary Redis metrics that are like an all-time total count right now that we convert to internal events, because 90 is still a more manageable number, achievable number than 500. And converting all of those, we'd get rid of the need to preserve any code related to the normal Redis total count.
Yeah, okay. In that case, some of these are pretty easy to migrate, but some of the Redis metrics have like additional logic for generating Redis keys, or even beyond that. So these are not like cookie cutter examples. Some of them will be harder to migrate than others. Not sure if we should spend too much time on like trying to figure out automation for that.
So I've just been thinking about the ones where we have a custom instrumentation class, and maybe it would be helpful to have like a grep script, something like that we could use in the patterns of like how it's used. Not the internal, like the implementation of the class itself, but more like how it's called and how it's used in different tests. There might be a pattern there. So maybe we could make something that could at least detect that we get all the. I mean, the super simple thing would be to just grab the code base for this thing and have and does that make any sense? Like let's say you want to migrate an event, a metric. It has a certain instrumentation class. So you're done when that instrumentation class no longer exists and is no longer used anywhere. Does that make any sense?
I'm mainly trying to understand what your. Yes, so we should I mean, yeah, we should search for the usages of either all in the beginning or then specific metrics.
I was just wondering if we could make a script. So basically a script saying, okay, we need to look for, in general, this is where we need to look for usages. And
then we'd still have separate issues, for example, for every event or a specific group of events or metrics. But the script would help to make sure that we detect all the usages.
That was my idea. If we cannot make like a code mod or something to actually do the change itself, maybe we could do something that at least help us make sure that the migration is complete.
Mm-hmm.
More than just a checklist. Just while we're talking about it, I'm currently working on adding total count to internal events, and my idea for migrating the old or supporting the legacy or the old metrics would be to allow to overwrite the Redis key in the configuration. So it's probably mostly for Meow and Piotr. I don't know if it makes sense to. So some of the metrics, they have these that they're kind of building or computing a Redis key based on a prefix and an event. And my idea was just to get rid of that and inline the whole computation as this is the key where you can expect to find the value.
Yeah, just pass the whole key and not generate anything. Like don't bother with prefixes and all that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I thought about it as well.
Yeah, and then configure that in the metric definition.
Yeah, it will need to be changed in the metric definitions too. Yeah. But we're talking about the issue for total counts, right? Like the one where we want to get rid of these counter classes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I have the same opinion as Piotr.
Yeah, I don't think there's even another way to do it, because we need to keep the old keys going, and on the other hand, we want the key to be easily accessible from the definition. So I suppose that's it.
So going back to the previous topic, maybe we could create an issue where we would set up some specified amount of time for the research on like how automatizable would be the changes, so that like we're also in control. Like we would know that we're not investing too much time into a task that effectively would be impossible.
I think that's a good idea.
I think that's also a good idea. What I suggest then is I turn the issue that's linked above into an epic, because this is gonna involve more than one issue probably anyway to convert all the metrics, and create a sub issue with what Michał mentioned. What I'd maybe also make part of it is, since when you're going to look at automating it, you're going to look at how these metrics are set up and so on. So even if you're not automating it, I think what should be an outcome of this is recommendations on how we best structure our approach there. Yes, I'd assume that 90 single issues for specific metrics, like for every metric having a separate issue, might not be the most ideal way to go. Or even if that were to be the ideal way to go, then I'd definitely create automation to just feed those into the API and just like take a list and create all the issues at once rather than me doing it manually. But I'd kind of create, maybe then have it as a bit of a more general issue of, okay, let's investigate on how to best tackle this within like a day or two, and then the outcome can feed into how we further structure the epic.
Sounds good.
All right, I think then we can move on. I just wanted to kind of highlight it again. I think Jonas brought it up last week and I completely forgot to talk about it. I don't know how much, I assume everyone saw it, but it's sometimes it's hard to keep up with all the information that's flowing around in GitLab. So there's a summit happening again. I remember some of us talked in Prague that whether this kind of thing, like an equivalent to the contributes of all times, is going to happen again. And many were doubtful, but now it's happening. And everyone's invited to join in Vegas next year. So on the one hand, I just want to quickly check in if everyone heard about it. I'm definitely going to try to join. I'd be interested in whoever else already knows they're going to join, or they're if there's some reason if they're cannot join. And then also highlight that there's the option to propose sessions. So the whole summit is, to my knowledge, is kind of like an unconference where we can propose sessions which are like discussion topics, which is something that we can also already think about. I mean, you can think about it in any way possible. One specific way that I'm now thinking about is also in terms of analytics, because this might also be a way to get together with a lot of our users and feel the wrath about our technology in person, rather than just through a computer screen. So yeah, who's joining? Or do you already know whether you're going to join?
I will try to join too.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to join. It'll be, too much for us with just, settling down with our move. Yeah.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I don't think I will be able to join because like there is a long visa slots line, like maybe 1.5 years or 2 years in India. So yeah.
There's no way for you to get around that.
I don't think there is any way as of now. Like some slots dates are opening randomly in like within 6 months of time, but like you have to be constantly at that to check the dates. So yeah.
All right. Do you know whether there's any kind of activity? Because I mean, you're not the only person from India working at GitLab. So do you know whether there's any kind of activity around trying to make it happen for Indian team members, or nothing at all?
It's actually difficult to get an appointment, at least. Like some people are trying to move to the Singapore or something nearby country where they can apply for visa because like the wait time is lesser. But for particular India, it's difficult to get. Yeah.
Sorry, Anki, just to interrupt. I spoke with my teammate from India, Snehansh. He told me he got some appointment in November, and he's so happy about that. Initially, he thought like this, but usually what I used as a hack here in Serbia was to apply for appointment and got some timeline for maybe more than 1 year from now. And each evening I go there, and if some slot is free, I just reschedule it. Actually, I book my slot in 2 weeks. I mean, miracle happens sometimes, but maybe can try to do that. I don't know how it's going there in India, but as I said, my colleague, he make it.
Yeah, I talked with Snehansh on that, and actually, I'm also trying, but it's all about luck, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
it's a luck factor. Yeah, I thought there is some skill or hack, but yeah, it's sad to hear that.
All right, then I think then it's all our duty to now kind of cross our fingers and wishing you good luck as much as possible, because it would be really awesome to also have you there. I think we can, if there's anything we can do to make it happen, then let us know. But I guess when you're already trying, luck is the main thing you need now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go as long as I get a visa. Shouldn't be too much of a problem, but there is a non-zero chance that I don't get it. But
from Poland,
let's hope.
I think we don't have visas anymore, right?
I mean, well, the process is, I think, electronic mostly now, but you can still get. They can still not let you in the country at the airport. So
I see. Because now there's
I heard the story. So
so they actually kind of blocked someone at the airport from entering then.
Yeah, because you don't actually get a visa after an appointment. You get a visa waiver. And then you have to go through some additional paperwork at the airport. That's how I understand it, at least. I've never been to the United States before, so.
Well, when was it? When did this happen that they were stopped?
I think that's pre-coronavirus. Yeah, I've got a friend who had problems, but we'll see.
I've checked the embassy like yesterday, and it said that there's some electronic registration, but it's not for a visa in particular. So I wonder if they were still going through the visa flow, but well, we can just check it later.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
All right, then I hope everyone else can at least make it. It'd be cool to see as many people as possible. Really looking forward to everyone. All right, then I think we have one more topic from Tanuja before we.
Yeah. Thanks, Vasi. So quickly, so recently I've been collecting some use cases for the cross-stage data vision, and I'm talking to different personas like product managers and CSMs and engineers, and I'm also keeping the questions open-ended. So I've been receiving some feedback on internal events, and I've linked the issue where I've been collecting, this feedback. And at a high level, what I've been hearing from product managers is that a lot of them want to instrument a lot more events and metrics, but what's stopping them is because engineering capacity is limited and different other engineering initiatives take on higher priorities. So I think this is where, the solution we have of providing that UI might really be beneficial. And from engineers as well, I think I just spoke to one engineer so far about internal events, and like we already discussed, the feedback there was that the setup of the configuration files was complex, and this again is something hopefully the UI will solve. The other is CSMs, and we hear a lot from CSMs where they ask to get more granular usage data from both Service Ping and Snowflow, like both SaaS and self-managed customers, where they want to analyze usage data to understand, justify the spend, which they're currently not getting from value stream analytics dashboards. So the question there for us is, how do we kind of make this data accessible to them? And some of the CSMs also hope to, provide the ability to visualize and build reports over that data for their customers. I think that's something the current, I forget what it's called, but the self-managed dashboard is doing, but it's all manual where the customers download that information, send it to the CSM upload it in that tool, generate reports, and send it back to the customers to understand what usage is looking like. So I have the details in the issue, so please feel free to drop in your comments or ideas, or if you have any specific questions that you would like to ask, like me to ask the end users, I'm happy to take that to them. Yeah. That's all I had, Pasi.
Thanks. I think we're kind of going towards the end. I just want to mention that I think in this case also having the actual use cases, like for example, what they want to break down, why they want to show something specific to users would be helpful to, I think, illustrate it more toward for us what they actually want to achieve. Because I can totally see that with the CSMs. The one thing I'm actually wondering right now is also whether they can, like an individual CSM, I'd assume they might not even be able to access sisense or anything like that, but just kind of need to rely on the data that's piped through until Gainsight, but I actually don't know that. So what I'm trying to get at is I unfortunately, I don't even really understand or know kind of how they interact with the data right now and what their possibilities are. Like, can they actually access sisense? Can they only access Gainsight? Where can they look into the data? It might be actually interesting to, you know, shadow them or like have a, how does a CSM use our data on a daily basis? Kind of video to understand them.
Yeah, I think apart from the CSMs wanting to use, it seems like I'll send you a few, you know, requests that we receive on. I think one recently on the product channel where the customer wants to track their usage data and break that down by groups to see, you know, to justify the spend, you know, and how many licenses they've been using, how many users within a particular org has been using GitLab and what features that kind of helps them justify the spend. And currently we don't have that in value stream analytics because value stream analytics is more around, you know, making your DevOps cycle more efficient. It's more like time bound. So that information is not available. Like basically usage data that we are providing to our product managers, they would like to access some of that as well. Yeah.
That's very interesting. All right. I just want to mention quickly the async note from Sarah before we stop here. If you haven't done so, it doesn't take a long time. Sarah's proposal is to add a vacation calendar for all of us. I kind of have this automatically because Deal is normally automatically configured to send vacation requests to my calendar as the manager, but I don't think the rest of you has it, and I can definitely see the value in having that, and it takes you maybe 2-3 minutes to add the calendar. The only thing that happens is that whenever you create a vacation, it's going to be sent to that calendar as well, which creates more transparency around who's available when within the team. If you have any concerns, then just let me know. Otherwise, I just maybe do it quickly after this meeting.
Am I supposed to like remove the out of office calendar events from like the main calendar then?
No, so this is, I think, so this is a calendar that everyone can see it as an addition to whatever you're doing now. Because this is a calendar that everyone can, but doesn't need to subscribe to. This is also not going to be visible on your own calendar. So when you create like an out of office message, or PTO by Deal also sends a message to your own calendar when people want to create a meeting with you. This is more about if anyone wants to check who's available for review or pair programming or something within the group, where they don't want to look at a specific person, but they also don't want to kind of add all the calendars for all the 8 people that we are in the group. They can just activate this one calendar, and all the PTO from everyone is going to be visible as calendar entries and kind of color coded to that specific calendar. I mean, in Google Calendar, you can almost choose a color for a specific calendar, so it's kind of visible to everyone, and easily seeable that, okay, this week there's Piotr and Michał gone, this week there's Ankit and Jonas gone, or this week Tanuja is gone, and you see it all in one place without needing to check the individual calendars of everyone individually. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
All right, then thanks a lot, everyone. Sorry for kind of taking a bit more time than usual.
Thanks, everyone, and thank you for accommodating me in the new time. I know it's early for some of you. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.